Chapter 41 Ye Nantian ends the war. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There was only one encounter in the battle, and the winner was decided. In the flash of lightning, the fat man lay on the ground and was beaten by Dai Yao. The onlookers were shocked. Monster! Is he really a first-ring soul master? Someone looked at the figure on the duel field in disbelief and said in disbelief, "I'm afraid everyone is wrong. How could such a person be a coward?" Some people have doubts about Dai Yao's bad reputation in the past 3 years. The other party has lost the ability to fight, and he continues to hurt the other party. Isn't it too much? Some people think that Dai Yao's behavior is cruel. Seeing Dai Yao's victory, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't restrain the joy in his heart, and it seemed that he couldn't feel the pain all over his body. During the 3 years of repression, it was not just Dai Yao who endured the humiliation, but she too. Although Dai Yao's methods were bloody and cruel, they were for the enemy. To her, they were called thunderous methods. Now that all the hardships have come to an end, she wants to share the joy with Dai Yao, but because of her injuries, she can only sit where she is, feeling proud of Dai Yao. Zhu Zhuqing looked surprised. She never expected that Dai Yao actually crossed the gap of 1 soul ring and defeated the great soul master. You must know that having 1 more soul ring is not just as simple as having 1 more soul skill. When absorbing the soul ring, it will bring improvements in all aspects, and he defeated Fatty with overwhelming force. Dai Yaming's face instantly darkened. Dai Yao didn't care if he defeated Fatty, but also severely injured Fatty. This was a slap in his face. Fatty is already considered a more powerful group among his subordinates. Although there are people more powerful than Fatty, those people belong to the nobility and will not completely obey his orders. Only Fatty, no matter what he is told, he will complete it meticulously. Now, Fatty was beaten to death by Dai Yao on the stage. Not only did he lose his most important right-hand man, but he also suffered a great loss of face. He came to the stage, slowly moved the fat man's head out of the pit, stretched out his fingers, put them under his nose, and could still feel the faint breath. The fat man's face was beyond recognition. He tried hard to open his deformed eyes and murmured a few words guiltily, yes, no. A few words were broken out intermittently. Because my mouth was severely damaged, my articulation was not clear and I could only barely distinguish them. He betrayed Dai Yaming's trust and taught Dai Yao a lesson, but was taught a lesson by Dai Yao. Dai Yaming's expression was complicated. Although the fat man was defeated and beaten into such a miserable state, the fat man could be regarded as having devoted his whole life for him and made great contributions. Okay. 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 Dai Yaming spoke every word, his blood rising, and his tone contained endless anger. As expected, you did what you said and collected the interest. But you can't even think of going back alive today. Dai Yaming said coldly that Fatty's defeat today has made Dai Yaming realize that Dai Yao is an extremely huge threat. Crossing a level and defeating the great soul master with overwhelming force is enough to prove Dai Yao's talent. What's more, Dai Yao is already at level 20 and can already obtain soul rings. When the time comes, facing Dai Yao, a great soul master, even he will feel troubled, and he has developed an undying hatred with Dai Yao. Now there was a trace of regret in his heart. Dai Yao is 6 years younger than him. He is already close to becoming a great soul master, and his future achievements are limitless, but the matter has come to this, he has no choice. While Dai Yao is still weak, he must get rid of Dai Yao as soon as possible, even if he violates the clan rules. Otherwise, when Dai Yao becomes stronger, he will definitely die. A cold light flashed in his eyes. After being possessed by the martial spirit, his palms turned into tiger palms, and sharp tiger claws popped out. Dai Yaming's actions aroused exclamations from the onlookers. 2 great soul masters constantly challenge a first-level soul master, which is really shameless. It's not enough to use the big one to bully the small ones, but also to suddenly launch an attack while others have just finished fighting and are resting. Such despicable behavior was condemned by countless people, but Dai Yaming couldn't care anymore. Dai Yao's potential frightened him. At this time, Dai Yao also reacted and assumed a fighting posture, not daring to blink even once. Dai Yaming put too much pressure on him. Dai Yaming is no ordinary great soul master. In the past 3 years, he has been promoted from level 25 to level 29, reaching the pinnacle of great soul master. What's more, he still has a soul bone. The soul bone not only gave him a new skill, but also improved his body in all aspects. The pressure he brought was far beyond what Fatty could compare to. A trace of cold sweat ran across Dai Yao's face, and his heart gradually sank. Without the second soul ring and only the Baji collapsed, his chances of winning were slim. Off the court, Zhu Zhuqing's eyes were filled with joy. She was glad that Dai Yaming could still deal with Dai Yao. She was also scared to have an enemy with such great potential. Now she regrets her previous behavior that offended Dai Yao because of her willfulness. Zhu Zhuqing was extremely anxious and struggled to help Dai Yao. Due to his serious injuries, he fell to the ground and could not get up again. A powerful voice sounded from outside the arena. "You have gone too far, Your Highness." Everyone followed the sound and saw a burly young man appearing outside the arena. Many civilian soul masters looked happy, because this was the third person in the academy who should not be messed with. Ye Nantian. Under the admiring gazes of many soul masters, Ye Nantian came to the arena and stood in front of Dai Yao. It turned out that just after the news of Zhu Zhuqing's distress came and Dai Yao left, Feng Wudong realized that something was wrong. Instead of rushing to the arena, he immediately sought Ye Nantian's help. After understanding the whole story, Ye Nantian was also happy to help. In fact, he had already arrived at the arena during the battle, but he didn't make a sound. Dai Yao determines the outcome with one move. Others cannot see it, but Ye Nantian knows very well that that moment of opportunity was created by an gene. Dark strength requires the compression of soul power, which cannot be obtained by those without great luck or great perseverance. Good boy, it really worked. Ye Nantian marveled inwardly. Seeing the menacing group, many noble soul masters gathered around Dai Yaming and formed a confrontation with Ye Nantian and his group. Dai Yaming felt troubled and said sternly, "It's not your turn to take care of our royal affairs, right?" Ye Nantian just twisted his neck and said domineeringly, "I am a commoner, but I am also a soul master. I can't stand a great soul master fighting against a one-ring soul master." But at this time, Dai Yaming has already given up, and does not care about face. Today, Dai Yao must be abolished, otherwise he will never have peace. Ye Nantian, I respect you a lot, but don't really treat yourself as a person. You are a commoner, it's not your turn to make the decision here. These words not only angered Ye Nantian, but also completely angered many civilian soul masters. In the academy, civilian soul masters have always been bullied by noble soul masters. They can only compete with one or two by joining a group to keep warm. Now that the second prince is so unscrupulously belittling their status as civilians, they can't help it no matter what. Many civilian soul masters took a few steps forward and stared coldly at the side of the noble soul masters. The situation suddenly became tense, and the air almost froze. After the anger, Ye Nantian quickly came to his senses and started a dispute with the nobles. They were always the ones who suffered. Since he is the leader of civilian soul masters, he must also bear the responsibility of civilian soul masters. It is really unwise to conflict with Dai Yaming because of Dai Yao. Chapter 42 10 Days Promise. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this moment, a voice intervened in the tense situation. Brother Nantian, I will remember your rescue today and I will retaliate in the future. Dai Yao bowed and thanked many civilian soul masters, and then expressed his gratitude to Ye Nantian. If Ye Nantian could help him, it would be an act of kindness, but this is always a matter between him and Dai Yaming, and he needs to stand up on his own. Looking at the gloomy Dai Yaming, Dai Yao did not give him a good look. The conflict between the two parties was irreconcilable and said, Your Highness, it is not a good look for things to reach this point. This is a matter between the two of us. There is no need for others to get involved. Dai Yaming looked at the tense situation and felt a little troubled, but he did not show it. He remained personable and said in a gentle voice, What do you want? In 10 days, a battle will determine the outcome. How about that? Dai Yao's tone was sonorous and powerful. His enemy is not only the second prince, but also the more terrifying eldest prince. However, the current situation no longer allows him to tolerate it any longer. He must remove Dai Yaming as a stumbling block. Ye Nantian frowned, feeling that Dai Yao was overestimating his abilities. the reason why he defeated Fatty was just because of Dai Yao's unexpected secret strength. He could see in Jin, but according to Dai Yaming's knowledge, it was impossible to see it, and Dai Yaming not only has soul power reaching level 29, but also has soul bones, and is also the top beast martial soul. It can be said that among the great soul masters, he is the strongest existence. Moreover, Dai Yaming already knew Dai Yao's secret power, so he could not be unprepared. Ye Nantian was indeed surprised that Dai Yao could defeat Fatty, but against Dai Yaming, he could not find any hope of winning. Not only Ye Nantian, but other soul masters also felt that Dai Yao was overestimating his abilities. It was okay for civilian soul masters, after all, they had to take care of Ye Nantian's face and kept silent, but many noble soul masters laughed at him without any scruples. Does he think that by defeating Fatty, that foul-mouthed guy, he can defeat His Highness? It's really overestimating one's abilities. Dai Yaming's face was calm, his eyes were staring at Dai Yao, and he was worried. He knew that Dai Yao needed these 10 days just to obtain the soul ring, and then he would face Dai Yao, the great soul master. After a long silence, he slowly said, "What if I don't accept it?" Dai Yaoran smiled and said angrily, "Didn't you send people every day to clamor for a duel with me? Why, today I want to challenge you, and you don't dare to accept it." That once these words came out, Dai Yaming could bear it, but the many noble soul masters who relied on him couldn't. A first-level soul master being so arrogant in front of a great soul master is simply mocking him. The aristocratic soul masters were a group that wanted to save face, and the crowd suddenly became excited. There are advantages and disadvantages to forming a force. The advantage is that it can gather the power of many people, but the disadvantage is that as the leader, the dignity of the second prince not only represents himself, but also represents his force. If a soul master whose strength far surpassed Dai Yaming provoked him, it was understandable that he would choose to endure it, but if he is not as strong as him and provokes him, he must respond, otherwise how can he lead this team? He gritted his teeth, stared at Dai Yao, and said sternly, "Okay." Then 10 days later. After everyone left, Ye Nantian found Dai Yao. "Are you going to get your second soul ring in these 10 days? Dai Yao nodded. Ye Nantian shook his head slightly and sighed. "Do you think you have hope of winning after becoming a great soul master? You underestimate Dai Yaming too much. Even if you obtain the second soul ring, his soul power is still 7 or 8 levels higher than yours. In terms of soul power, you have no advantage. Moreover, he still has a soul bone. As far as I know, although this soul bone is only more than 3,000 years old, its soul skills are extremely powerful. Even more powerful than his second soul skill." Ye Nantian's words made Dai Yao's heart sink to the bottom. No matter how you analyze it, it can be said that he has no chance of winning. His only hope lies in the second soul ring. In other words, his second soul ring must exceed the limit, and its age must even exceed 1,000 years, so that the increase it brings to him can make up for the gap. Dai Yao felt bitter in his heart. Immediately, he cupped his fists at Ye Nantian and said, "Thank you, brother Nantian, for informing me, but I think I still have hope of victory." Seeing Dai Yao's calm expression in front of him and not being shocked by his words, Ye Nantian was surprised and thought to himself, "This kid seems confident to defeat Dai Yaming. Does he have any other tricks? Since you know what's going on, I don't have to say anything. I hope you can win the battle by then." After saying that, Ye Nantian turned and left. Looking at Ye Nantian's leaving figure, Dai Yao was grateful. If he becomes successful in the future, he will definitely repay Ye Nantian for his kindness today. After walking through the woods, he returned to the place of practice. After a while, the injured Zhu Zhu was sent back by Feng Wudong early in the morning. Opening the door, 2 beautiful faces looked over. Zhu Zhuqing lay weakly on the bed and looked happy when he saw Dai Yao at the door. Feng Wudong handed him the decoction in her hand, nuzzled at him, and said, "Since you are back, Sister Zhuqing will be taken care of by you." The door creaked shut. Dai Yao came to the bed, looked at the injured and weak Zhu Zhuqing, held the hand exposed outside the quilt, and asked pityingly, "Are you feeling better?" Zhu Zhuqing nodded slightly. Dai Yao said guiltily, "I'm sorry, if it weren't for me." A delicate jade finger was placed on his mouth, stopping what he wanted to say. Zhu Zhuqing stroked Dai Yao's cheek, showing rare tenderness on his cold face, and said, "I don't blame you, this is our fate. 10 days later, I will duel with Dai Yaming and I will definitely avenge you. Dai Yao solemnly promised. Zhu Zhuqing suddenly became worried, struggled to sit up, and said anxiously. You don't have to do this for me. Can the duel be cancelled? The entire academy knows about this matter and it cannot be cancelled. Then let's run away. We'll leave tonight. Zhu Zhuqing wanted to sit up anxiously and pack his bags, but Dai Yao stopped Zhu Zhuqing's movements and comforted him. Don't worry, I have a certain chance of winning. Seeing that Dai Yao had made up his mind, Zhu Zhuqing stopped struggling and lay calmly on the bed, saying gently, I believe in you, our lives are connected. If you die, I will not live alone. Dai Yao was shocked and had goosebumps all over his body. It was only after his coaxing that Zhu Zhuqing stayed. The girl's true feelings made him lose his heart of being a scumbag. No, I must stick to my path of being a scumbag. He gritted his teeth and tried not to immerse himself in Zhu Zhuqing's feelings. In order to divert his attention, with a thought, a purple lotus appeared in his hand. Zhu Zhuqing was immediately attracted by this lotus. She felt a strong desire on the purple lotus. Chapter 43 The Function of Purple Lotus. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Dai Yao said hesitantly, I have a fairy grass here. It may be helpful in recovering from your injury, but I'm not sure if it has any side effects. When he first saw this purple lotus, he thought of Zhu Zhuqing, have the same temperament, holy, cold, tempting. The purple lotus swayed gently, exuding a mysterious and seductive aura. Zhu Zhuqing stretched out his hand and took Zilian anxiously. He looked at the purple lotus in fascination, and after a long while, he said to Dai Yao, I feel that the aura of the purple lotus matches my breath very well, and it is of great benefit to me. And, somehow, I feel like it has no side effects on me. Immortal grass is a creature of heaven and earth, and can be channeled by gods. Zhu Zhuqing feels that purple lotus will not have a negative impact on her, so she is not wrong. In that case, take it quickly. The purple lotus entered the mouth and turned into juice into the throat. Then Zhu Zhuqing's body exuded a faint pressure, and even his skin slowly appeared purple. The previous injuries began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. Within a few breaths, the wounds that were originally deep enough to show bone left only a faint trace, as if they had never appeared before. Even Dai Yao was extremely surprised by this change. I'm afraid the fairy grass in the original work didn't have such a terrifying effect. After the wound healed, the strange changes did not stop. Zhu Zhuqing opened his eyes, and his black eyes were tinged with purple, mysterious and enchanting. The nether civic cat's martial spirit in his body was warm, as if bathed in sunlight, and there was a slight change. Her martial soul is changing, and it's mutating for the better. A person's martial soul has been finalized from the moment the martial soul awakens and cannot be changed. In the history of Douluo Continent, there has never been a situation where the martial soul was changed the day after tomorrow. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Dai Yao in surprise, noticing the change in Wuhun. His tone was trembling. What exactly is this purple lotus? What's wrong? Dai Yao asked doubtfully. Zhu Zhuqing's eyes widened and he said, my martial soul has mutated again. Where did you get the purple lotus from? What? A thunder and lightning flashed through Dai Yao's heart. Zhu Zhuqing's words shocked him greatly. He was stunned for a long time, and then solemnly warned Zhu Zhuqing. Don't ask where Zilian comes from. And don't tell anyone about Zilian, otherwise we will both be killed. In a flash of lightning, Dai Yao broke into a cold sweat when he thought about the consequences of the news that Zilian had changed his spirit. How many soul masters are trapped because of the quality of their martial souls? From soul warriors to title Douluo, there are situations where their realms have stagnated due to their martial souls. If they hear the news that Zilian can change martial spirits, they may force him to hand over Zilian at any cost. Those civilian soul masters who have mutated their martial souls will probably do anything to eliminate the side effects of the mutated martial souls. The first one to take action must be the many soul masters with impure spirits in the family. I am afraid that even a few elders will not be able to resist the temptation and take action against him, but he only had one purple lotus, which was completely unable to meet their requirements. Once the news leaks, the two of them will become enemies of the entire world. Thinking about the consequences was terrifying. Dai Yao warned, Zhuqing, from today on, don't use your martial spirit. When this duel is over, we will go to a place where no one knows us. Only then can you use it. Martial spirit. Zhu Zhuqing also nodded solemnly. She also understood her current situation. As the martial soul soaked in the warm environment, she gradually understood that the martial soul's mutation was a slow process. She sat up cross-legged and said to Dai Yao, "Brother Yao, don't worry. From today on, I will not show my martial arts spirit in the academy. It will take some time for martial souls to mutate. My injuries are almost healed now and I can take care of myself. Go hunt the soul beasts quickly." Dai Yao nodded and left the room. He only has 10 days to obtain the second soul ring. Outside the college gate, a carriage has been prepared. After jumping on the carriage, the driver raised his whip and shouted. The carriage rumbled away from the college. One day one night, Dai Yao arrived at the royal beast garden smoothly. During this day on the carriage, his condition had returned to its peak. Looking at the majestic mountains and the canyon in the middle, Dai Yao felt a little emotional. The thrilling scene when he obtained the first soul ring seemed to be right in front of him, but now he would not let others slaughter him like before. After walking in the canyon for a while, I finally arrived at the place where the soul beasts were kept. "Chief guard, come out." Dai Yao sat on the horse, looked at his guards who were lined up in 2 rows to welcome him, and shouted sharply. When he obtained his first soul ring, a guard tried to kill him, but he killed him instead. It was impossible for the captain of the guard not to know about this, and later I learned that the soul master who originally protected him was also stopped by the queen. Now, it's time for him to collect debt. The captain of the guard walked out slowly with an ugly expression on his face. Being given such an unceremonious order by Dai Yao, he lost a lot of face in front of many of his subordinates. He came to Dai Yao with a calm expression. When Dai Yao whispered something in his ear, his expression suddenly changed and he hurriedly called a soul master. "Fourth Highness, if you have any other requests, just ask me. As long as I can do it, I will definitely do it. Your Highness, please show me your noble hand and let me go." Cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and he said tremblingly. Dai Yao waved his hand, drove him away, turned to look at the soul master. This soul master is only in his 40s, but he looks extremely old. Dai Yao said, "You are the soul master who is responsible for protecting me when I hunt and kill soul beasts." "Yes." The middle-aged soul master was a little confused. He didn't know why Dai Yao was looking for him. After all, Dai Yao hadn't gone to the soul beast area to hunt soul beasts yet, so he didn't need his protection. After hearing the answer he wanted, Dai Yao sneered, "Since you are responsible for protecting me, but when I obtained the first soul ring, someone wanted to assassinate me, why didn't you show up?" The middle-aged soul master was at a loss for words, and explained, "I was stopped by a strange soul master at that time. It wasn't because I didn't come on purpose. Please learn from me, Your Highness. If you want me to let you go, you must agree to a request." "Any request?" "You help me hunt a soul beast." The middle-aged soul master turned pale with shock. "Your Highness, it is not allowed to help the prince hunt and kill soul beasts. Is it permissible for you to neglect your duties and put me in a dangerous place?" Dai Yao angrily reprimanded. "If you don't agree, I'll immediately report to the Council of Elders and let them decide. At that time, it's up to you." The middle-aged soul master's expression changed for a while, and finally he sighed, "Forget it, just follow what His Highness said. Since ancient times, the second soul beast hunted and killed by the princes is the earth-moving dragon, but I don't know how many years the earth-moving dragon will be hunted and killed by His Highness. 1300 years. Chapter 44 Forced. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The middle-aged soul master was shocked and immediately smiled awkwardly. "Your Highness, I have agreed to your conditions, don't tease me." "I'm not kidding," Dai Yao said seriously. Seeing Dai Yao's serious look, the middle-aged soul master finally confirmed that Dai Yao was not joking. His Adam's apple rolled, and after a long while, he slowly said, "Your Highness, I cannot agree to your conditions." "Aren't you afraid that the elders will punish you?" "Your Highness, compared to the punishment of the Presbyterian Council, your conditions scare me more," the middle-aged soul master explained. You should know that the limit life of a soul master's second soul ring is more than 760 years. If you want to absorb a 1,000-year soul ring, you are undoubtedly courting death. If I agree to your request, I will become your murderer. I cannot bear the crime of killing the prince. In the Douluo Continent for thousands of years, there has been no soul master whose second soul ring is a 1,000-year soul ring, except for those who participated in the divine examination and received rewards from the gods. To absorb a soul ring, you not only have to bear the impact of the huge soul power of the soul ring, but also the attack of the evil thoughts of the soul beast. A first-ring soul master simply does not have enough physical fitness to absorb a 1,000-year soul ring. Dai Yao felt troubled. He was a one-ring soul master who was completely unable to hunt down the 1,000-year soul beast, let alone the earth-walking dragon, which was famous for its power. When he obtained the first soul ring, he was able to kill the 700-year-old Xian Shui turtle. On the one hand, it was because Xian Shui turtle was not good at attacking. On the other hand, through various coincidences, he had a chance to break the Xian Shui turtle's weakness. Without the help of the middle-aged soul master, he would not have been able to obtain the 1,000-year soul ring. Even if he seeks help from his family's soul master, they will never allow Dai Yao to absorb a 1,000-year soul ring. This middle-aged soul master has something in Dai Yao's hands, but there is still some hope. Dai Yao forced him to say, "If you don't agree, I will report it to the Council of Elders. You neglected your duties and almost killed the prince. The Council of Elders will blame you and will definitely punish your 9 clans." That the middle-aged soul master was not afraid at all. He snorted coldly and retorted. Compared with the crime of killing the prince, the punishment for my dereliction of duty is much smaller. What's more, I was stopped by a strange soul master at that time. Even if I want to be punished, the soul master who stopped me must be found. Your Highness, you are seeking death yourself, but don't take me with you. That the situation suddenly came to a standstill. No matter how hard he forced the middle-aged soul master, Dai Yao could not find a good way. If you really don't take the hard way, can you really only get 100-year soul ring? He felt a little bitter in his heart. I sighed secretly in my heart. A white light bloomed from Dai Yao's body, possessed by the martial spirit. A domineering tiger roar resounded through the forest. The middle-aged soul master narrowed his eyes. Your Highness, you don't want to force me to use force, do you? I am a soul sect. Dai Yao shook his head and said in a gentle tone, "No, I want you to see something." "What?" "My first soul ring." Looking at the yellow soul ring surrounding Dai Yao, the middle-aged soul master snorted disdainfully and said, "Is there anything strange about a century-old soul ring? Please look carefully." Dai Yao reminded. The middle-aged soul master also realized that Dai Yao's serious appearance must not be without purpose. He came to Dai Yao's side and looked at the yellow soul ring carefully. After discovering the faint purple contained in the yellow soul ring, he widened his eyes and screamed. "How old is your soul ring?" 700 years. These few simple words were like thunder exploding in the heart of the middle-aged soul master. Since ancient times, the limit of the first soul ring has been more than 430 years, and no one has ever been able to break through this soul ring age limit. Now, in front of him, a miracle appeared. He looked at Dai Yao blankly and said nothing for a long time. After a while, he said hoarsely, "How did you do that?" "No comment." "Now you believe that I am confident of absorbing the 1,000-year soul ring. If I report this to the Presbyterian Council, you and your family will definitely die. However, if you help me hunt down the 1,000-year soul beast, you will have a chance of survival." "You know what to choose," Dai Yao said, revealing the secret of absorbing the soul ring beyond the limit. He was not worried about the middle-aged soul master forcing him to reveal the method of absorbing the soul ring beyond the limit, because these soul masters were supported by the Xingluo royal family. Once something happened, the entire family would have to be buried with him because of him. More importantly, if he successfully absorbs the 1,000-year soul ring, everyone will know this. Secret in the duel with Dai Yaming a few days later, the middle-aged soul master smiled bitterly and said, "It seems that your Highness has already made a plan. Since you have said so, what choice do I have? Come with me." The royal zoo is divided into 3 areas. Each area corresponds to a different soul beast, corresponding to the black water turtle, the earth-walking dragon and the diamond beast, they are the soul beasts that the owner of the white tiger spirit hunts from the first soul ring to the third soul ring. Because the age of the third spirit ring is more than 1,700 years, the maximum number of spirit beasts in the beast garden is only 2,000 years. Earth-walking dragons live in mountain caves, and the terrain is uneven and difficult to navigate. After several hours of journey, I finally found the earthly dragon with the right age of soul beast. Your Highness, we finally found it. The middle-aged soul master said tiredly. He turned to look at Dai Yao, only to find that Dai Yao was still blushing and out of breath, and his clothes were light and breezy, and he couldn't help but feel shocked. You must know that he is a powerful soul master. With the blessing of several soul rings, his physical fitness is completely stronger than that of a first-ring soul master. He was extremely tired, but Dai Yao, a first-level soul master, seemed to be doing it with ease. What a monster! No wonder he dared to absorb the 1,000-year soul ring. The middle-aged soul master sighed. What he didn't know was that within Dai Yao's body, the green lotus was emitting a faint green light. Then let's start. Dai Yao ordered. As soon as he finished speaking, a large amount of powerful aura erupted from the middle-aged soul master's body, and the strong wind it brought spread around. Countless dead branches and leaves were swept up by the strong wind, exposing the moist soil. The 4 yellow, and purple soul rings shine with a soul-stirring light. Under such huge pressure, Dai Yao was like swimming, avoiding most of the pressure, and the remaining weak pressure did no harm to Dai Yao at all. The results of 3 years of training under the waterfall were once again displayed. What a monster! The middle-aged soul master exclaimed again, being forced by Dai Yao all the time. He was angry and wanted to use huge pressure to embarrass Dai Yao when he released the soul ring, but he did not expect that Dai Yao still looked so calm and relaxed. The powerful momentum also woke up the sleeping dragon. Majestic dragon roar came from the cave, and then a ferocious behemoth appeared. 1,000 years of earth-moving dragon. Chapter 45 Millennium Soul Ring. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. While studying at the Star Luo Royal Academy, Dai Yao learned how to tell the age of a soul beast, especially the earthly dragon, a spirit beast that is very suitable for the white tiger spirit. I have learned about it emphatically. The age of an earth-walking dragon can be roughly judged by its size. The dragon in front of me is about 8 meters long and 3 meters high. It is exactly what it looked like between 1,300 and 1,400 years ago. That's it. Dai Yao ordered the middle-aged soul master. Immediately afterwards, the middle-aged soul master jumped out and fought fiercely with the earthly dragon. The soul ring shines with yellow-purple light, the soul power surges everywhere, and the shrill dragon roars echo in the forest. Fear flashed in the earthly dragon's eyes. After thousands of years, it has some wisdom and knows that it cannot escape. If it fights hard, it still has a chance of survival. White air spurted out from its nostrils, and then it opened its ferocious mouth, and white energy gathered in the mouth, mixed with a terrifying aura. A white shock wave spurted towards the middle-aged soul master. Even the ground was plowed out by this shock wave. Well done. The middle-aged soul master shouted. The 4th soul ring on his body flashed, and he was about to use his killing move. 2 powerful soul skills collided with each other, and the whole world seemed to be enveloped in white light. After a long time, Dai Yao slowly opened his eyes. At this time, the middle-aged soul master was a little embarrassed, with some dirt stuck to his face and a few pieces of his clothes torn. Fortunately, I did not disgrace my life. Your Highness, go and make up for the last blow. Thank you for your help today. Dai Yao solemnly bowed his thanks. Without the middle-aged soul master, he alone would not be able to hunt down the 1,000-year soul beast. He promised in his heart that if he becomes famous one day, he will definitely repay the middle-aged soul master. Slowly approached the body of Xingluo. At this time, the earthly dragon was seriously injured and lay helplessly on the ground, with a pair of huge pupils glaring at Dai Yao angrily. The mouth opened slightly and moved slowly, struggling to eat Dai Yao. Dai Yao didn't waste any time and stabbed Xingluo's brain with his knife. The earth-walking dragon's pupils slowly dilated, and the rich purple light condensed and formed on the earth-walking dragon's body. It was the best time to absorb it. Dai Yao's face tightened. He took a deep breath, sat down next to the body of Xingluo, and said to the middle-aged soul master, I'm sorry to trouble you. The middle-aged soul master nodded to Dai Yao and became vigilant around him. with his protection, Dai Yao no longer has to worry about the threat of soul beasts in the forest, and can finally absorb the soul ring in front of him wholeheartedly. Gathering his soul power, a white tiger phantom appeared behind Dai Yao, and he summoned the earth-walking dragon's soul ring. The purple soul ring seemed to have found an outlet for catharsis. As soon as it came into contact with Dai Yao's martial soul, the huge soul power suddenly surged towards Dai Yao like an ocean. The powerful fluctuations in soul power frightened the middle-aged soul masters. The quality of the earth-moving dragons of this 1,000 years was probably comparable to his fourth soul ring of 3 or 4,000 years. As soon as the soul ring entered his body, Dai Yao felt a stream of heat pouring into his body. Then, his whole body seemed to be soaked in magma, and his whole body was boiling. Among the many spirit beasts, the earthly dragon is inherently powerful and violent, and its spirit ring is just like its character, which is extremely cruel. Dai Yao felt as if there were countless sharp knives cutting into his body, his internal organs were hurting everywhere, and the tyrannical power of the soul ring was constantly tearing at his body, leaving him in extreme pain all the time. A mouthful of blood spurted out, because he had absorbed a soul ring that exceeded the limit for the first time. He was already familiar with absorbing a 1,000-year soul ring this time and was well prepared. In 3 years, he practiced hard day and night, under the waterfall, and developed a strong body. The physical toughness is much stronger than that of ordinary soul masters. Although his physical fitness far exceeds that of his peers, he is only 9 years old after all, and a 1,000-year soul ring is too much beyond the limit of a second soul ring. The violent and powerful soul ring of the earthly dragon kept attacking Dai Yao's frail body. From the perspective of the middle-aged soul master, Dai Yao had only one outcome, and that was death by explosion. Hey, it seems that His Highness the Fourth Highness is about to die. The middle-aged soul master sighed, I have to prepare myself and run away for my life. But the next scene shocked him extremely. Dai Yao's body, which was about to break apart, actually began to gradually repair. Xingluo, recover for me. Enduring the severe pain, Dai Yao roared in the spiritual world. Suddenly, Xingluo continued to emit green light, repairing the body that was on the verge of being broken, but the huge energy was still impacting, and his body was alternately damaged and restored, and the energy of the soul ring was gradually consumed and absorbed in the process. I don't know how long it took, but finally, Dai Yao's body was no longer damaged, and the process of absorbing the soul ring had come to an end. The fine drops of blood no longer seeped out, and his frown relaxed a bit. In the spiritual world, a purple soul ring appeared. Dai Yao was sweating profusely, but the joy of successfully absorbing the soul ring suppressed the fatigue. It doesn't matter if you go beyond the limit, I'm going to die. Looking at the two martial arts spirits Xingluo and Holy White Tiger, he pondered for a while and prepared to attach the soul ring to the Xingluo martial spirit. After all, the biggest advantage of twin martial souls is that if one martial soul reaches the title Douluo, the second martial soul can start possessing the soul at the maximum age of the first martial soul. In the original work, after Tang San reached the title of Douluo, when he attached a spirit ring to the clear sky hammer, the minimum age of the spirit beast was more than 50,000 years, but Dai Yao's situation is different. He is also a twin martial soul, but he clearly did not attach a soul ring to the Chaos Xingluo martial soul, but for some reason, the Chaos Xingluo martial soul had a yellow soul ring. This time, he wanted to use the Xingluo martial spirit as his main spirit, and then attach a soul ring to the Holy White Tiger martial spirit after he was titled Douluo. The 1,000-year soul ring seemed to be conscious, flying quickly towards the Chaos Green Lotus. However, Chaos Xingluo seemed a little disgusted. With a slight shake, he drove the purple soul ring to the side of the sacred white tiger. As if this purple soul ring is not worthy of it, the purple soul ring reluctantly tried several more times, but the results were the same. He could only look at the sacred white tiger that was shaking its head and tail at him. At this time, the sacred white tiger completely lost its previous majesty, rolling on the ground like a big white cat, showing longing eyes. Dai Yao was stunned by this strange picture. As the sacred white tiger absorbed the 1,000-year soul ring, it changed its coquettish appearance and stood up again, domineering and mighty. Dai Yao breathed softly and slowly opened his eyes. 2 soul rings surrounded him, one yellow and one purple, the second soul ring in 1,000 years. It finally succeeded. Dai Yao sighed. The middle-aged soul master stared at Dai Yao blankly, with a somewhat crazy expression. He rushed to Dai Yao's side, panted heavily, and said excitedly, "You really succeeded. Your Highness, do you know? You have performed a miracle. In the entire Soul Master world, no one has ever been able to successfully absorb a 1,000-year soul ring at the second soul ring." Chapter 46 Lord of the Netherworld. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Feeling the soul power in his body, Dai Yao was suddenly surprised. The soul power level reached level 23. It is indeed a 1,000-year soul ring. The increase in soul power it brings is equivalent to several years of hard training for ordinary people. Not only his soul power, but his physical fitness has also improved a lot. If he were fighting Fatty now, he would probably be able to defeat Fatty with nothing but Bajibang without engine. Sure enough, a first-level soul master and a great soul master are in completely different realms. Dai Yao said with emotion as his body changed drastically. Now it seems that the battle with Fatty was mostly due to luck. At this time, the middle-aged soul master opened the curtain of the tent and respectfully reminded, "Your Highness, it's almost time." The two rested for a day in the beast control garden to restore their spirit and soul power. After Dai Yao successfully absorbed the 1,000-year soul ring, the middle-aged soul master's attitude became extremely respectful, even flattering. "Then let's go back." After simply eating some dried meat and putting away all the camping equipment, the two left the Royal Beast Park along the way they came. After several hours of running around, we finally arrived at the edge of the Royal Beast Garden. After saying goodbye to the middle-aged soul master briefly, Dai Yao got on the carriage and drove through the canyon. Driving out of the canyon, Dai Yao opened the window and looked back. The rising mountains are like a towering wall, blocking the distant view, leaving only a narrow crack in the middle. Maybe I will never come here again. Dai Yao felt a little complicated. Although his experience in the beast control garden was not good, the 2 soul rings he obtained here left him with a different feeling for this place. The oldest soul beast in the beast control garden is only 2,000 years old, but it cannot meet the requirements of his 3rd soul ring. By then, he may have to go to the Star Doe Forest to obtain a satisfactory soul ring. The middle-aged soul beast looked at the direction Dai Yao left and remained silent for a long time. "Hey, I finally sent this plague god away. I hope he won't come again next time." The captain of the guard complained, looking at the middle-aged soul master who was standing aside blankly. The captain of the guard waved his hand in front of him and joked, "What's wrong, brother? What is it about these 4th highnesses that you should remember? Is it possible that he also threatened you?" That the middle-aged soul master was awakened by the weird movements of the guard captain. He knocked off the guard captain's hand in disgust, turned around and looked feverishly in the direction Dai Yao was leaving, and said inscrutably, "Brother, do you know what I saw?" "What did you see?" The captain of the guard was a little confused. "I saw a legend rising. One day one night, Dai Yao finally returned to the Royal Academy. As soon as I stepped into the academy, I was greeted by many eyes, some curious, some contemptuous, and some hostile, but Dai Yao didn't care. He ignored these looks and went straight back to his training place. Behind the waterfall, in the dark cave, Zhu Zhuqing was practicing cross-legged. Inside the cave, dark attributed soul power gathered from all around and was absorbed by her. She opened her eyes, feeling the changes in the soul power in her body, and said thoughtfully, "My cultivation speed has become much faster." When she was practicing before, it seemed as if the energy between heaven and earth had to beg for help before it reluctantly merged into her body. Ever since her martial soul mutated, whenever she practiced, the energy from heaven and earth rushed in, as if it was an honor to be trained by her. After taking Purple Lotus, the current martial soul is completely different from the Nether Civic Cat's martial soul, but thinking about the mysterious alien, she felt worried in her heart. She didn't know where Dai Yao got the Purple Lotus. But the existence of the Purple Lotus was undoubtedly the most precious treasure between heaven and earth. Something that can enhance martial souls has never been seen before. Since he doesn't want to say it, I won't force him. But when he comes back, I have to remind him that this matter is of great importance and he must be more cautious. There are so many people who know her in Xingluo Academy. She has never publicly used her martial soul since her martial soul mutated. While he was in distress, there was a sound of footsteps outside the waterfall. Zhu Zhuqing immediately put away his martial spirit, came to the entrance of the cave, and looked out of the waterfall warily. When that familiar figure appeared, a surge of joy emerged. "You're back." Zhu Zhuqing looked at Dai Yao's dusty face and said with a slight smile, "Just like an old couple, plain and sweet, not as passionate as young people in love. They were born in the royal family, and their emotions would be much more indifferent." Under the cruel rules of the competition for the throne, the two of them looked more like newspaper groups for warmth. It's a compromise without a choice. The so-called marriage contract is just a modification of this compromise, but after 3 years of getting along and supporting each other, Zhu Zhuqing gradually recognized Dai Yao. Especially a few days ago, Dai Yao appeared when she was in despair, opening a crack in her heart that was frozen because of the Zhu family's misfortune. "How is your martial spirit?" Dai Yao hugged Zhu Zhuqing and found that Zhu Zhuqing seemed to have grown a little taller. Thinking of the strange situation that happened to her after taking Zilian a few days ago, he said worriedly. Seeing Dai Yao's worried look, Zhu Zhuqing felt warm in his heart. "After taking Zilian, my martial spirit has strengthened a lot." After saying that, Zhu Zhuqing became possessed by martial spirit. "It doesn't seem to have changed." Dai Yao observed for a while, but couldn't tell any difference. He said so with his mouth, but his body was very honest. Zhu Zhuqing in the spirit-possessed state was extremely seductive, and Dai Yao couldn't take his eyes off him and remained motionless. She used to feel agile, but now she seems to be a high-ranking king, noble and mysterious in her movements. Why is she so attractive? Is this the role of Zilian? Dai Yao thought. Feel it carefully. Zhu Zhuqing had a sly expression on his face. When Dai Yao closed his eyes, a chill suddenly appeared around him, and then, his whole body seemed to be immersed in ice water. He shivered, and even the mist he exhaled condensed into frost. "What is this? Why is it so cold?" Dai Yao rubbed his arms and asked in surprise. "You know, he is an attack-type soul master with extremely strong physical fitness and strong resistance to cold. He can endure sitting under the waterfall in the winter, but why can't he endure it now? When I opened my eyes, I found that the cave was still the same, with moss everywhere, as if I couldn't feel the cold. No, the temperature in the cave has not changed." Dai Yao suddenly turned around, thinking in shock. "How did you do that?" he asked in surprise. An ice crystal crown appeared above Zhu Zhuqing's head, containing endless pressure. The dark elements in the entire cave became active, as if to welcome the appearance of the king. The sacred white tiger spirit seemed to feel something and instantly possessed Dai Yao. That is an existence of the same level as his sacred white tiger martial spirit. "This is my current martial spirit, the Lord of the Netherworld." Zhu Zhuqing explained. "I really don't know what to name it. There was some delay at the company today. The next chapter will be in the early morning." Chapter 47 Wuhun Palace. You are listening at novelfull.audio. "Master of the Underworld?" Dai Yao repeated in surprise. "Yes, in appearance, there is not much difference with the Nether Civet martial soul, but in essence, there is a world of difference. If the Nether Civet martial soul is the Nether Walker, then the current martial soul is the Nether King." Zhu Zhuqing explained. Indeed, with the naked eye, Dai Yao could not tell the difference between the two, but when the ice crystal crown was placed on Zhu Zhuqing's head, although the person remained the same, his whole temperament became different. There is a feeling of dominating the world and aloof. Then what happened to the cold just now? Thinking of the shivering chill just now, Dai Yao couldn't help asking. This is the breath of the Nether. The Nether does not affect the real world, it affects the human soul. Dai Yao pondered for a long time and then said slowly, "Although I can't tell the changes in your martial soul from your appearance, those high-level soul masters are well informed and can detect your martial soul if you don't pay attention." The change. Hearing Dai Yao's words, Zhu Zhuqing's expression became serious. "Don't use martial arts anymore. After the duel between Dai Yaming and I ends in a few days, we will leave the Star Luo Empire immediately and go to a place where no one knows us." Dai Yao explained. Zhu Zhuqing nodded gently, and then asked. "Is your process of obtaining the soul ring going smoothly?" "All the best." "That's good." Zhu Zhuqing suddenly became a little hesitant. "What do you want to say?" Sensing Zhu Zhuqing's change, Dai Yao frowned and asked. If. Zhu Zhuqing grabbed Dai Yao's hand and did not dare to look into his eyes. If I don't let you duel and we leave here immediately, will you be angry? Dai Yao held up her delicate and pretty face, asked her to look at him, and said seriously, do you want me to be a deserter who runs away without a fight? Could it be that I am the same in your eyes as I am in those hearts? Just a coward? No. Zhu Zhuqing hurriedly shook his head in denial, almost crying, and explained in an anxious tone, it's just that the second prince is too powerful, you are no match for him. Temporary escape does not mean that you are cowardly. Your potential is much greater than that of the second prince. As long as you wait a few more years, you will definitely be able to surpass him. Dai Yao suddenly wanted to laugh. In the original book, Dai Mubai escaped from the competition for the throne and went to the Heaven Do Empire, which ended up becoming a knot in Zhu Zhuqing's heart. Now, it was her who persuaded herself to avoid the battle with the second prince. Do you believe me? Dai Yao asked seriously. Of course I believe you, but there is no need to fight because of emotions. Zhu Zhuqing persuaded anxiously, but Dai Yao interrupted her. Then take a look at my second soul ring. Dai Yao said slowly. Second soul ring? Aren't the second soul rings of the White Tiger family all earth-walking dragons? Is there anything strange? Zhu Zhuqing thought strangely, but as the purple soul ring slowly emerged, her eyes widened and she was too shocked to speak. This is. You should now believe that I can defeat Dai Yaming. Dai Yao said confidently. The purple soul ring shattered all worries and doubts, and Zhu Zhuqing's mood suddenly calmed down. The next day, the streets of Xingluo Imperial City are bustling with traffic, people, and various buildings. 2 teenage children were walking on the road, one male and one female. The boy is heroic and the girl is as delicate as a porcelain doll. It was Dai Yao and Zhu Zhuqing. At this time, Zhu Zhuqing's face was cold and indifferent, as if she was not interested in anything, but her tightly holding the hand of Dai Yao's clothes revealed her innermost feelings. Relax, there's no need to be so nervous. Dai Yao comforted. By the way, he stretched out his arm and motioned for Zhu Zhuqing to hold it. Zhu Zhuqing nodded lightly and hugged his arm tightly, as if he was afraid of getting lost. Although his expression was still cold, the corner of his eyes was paying attention to the novel things around him. After all, these 3 years have been spent in boring training, and there is no chance to come out to play. Dai Yao also felt strange. In his previous life, he was just an ordinary migrant worker and had no travel experience at all. All he saw and heard was the 3-acre land between home and school. The excitement in my heart when I saw a living classical building for the first time now is indescribable. Several idlers in the alley looked at the 2 people in luxurious clothes with greedy expressions. These 2 little things are in good condition. After 1 vote, you will definitely make a lot of money. A short man encouraged the leader, but he didn't expect the leader to punch him on the head. Stinky boy, I don't have any eyesight. Didn't you see what they were wearing? The civet cat and white tiger, that's from the Xingluo royal family. We are in the Star Luo Imperial City now. If you want to die, don't take me with you. That the leader warned fiercely. Pedestrians on the road, whenever they notice the costumes of Dai Yao and Dai Yao, will show their surprised eyes, and then lower their heads slightly to express respect, because this is the Star Luo Imperial City, the place where the imperial power is most powerful. Under the attention of everyone, Dai Yao arrived at his destination. The Spirit Hall of Star Luo Imperial City. It's so impressive. Dai Yao sighed. The Wuhun Palace in the Imperial City not only occupies a vast area, but is also elegant and solemn. Even after thousands of years, it still looks like new. In the Star Luo Imperial City, the Wuhun Palace can still have such a huge building. One can only imagine how terrifying its power is. He patted Zhu Zhuqing, who was still in a state of shock, and said, let's go in. Wuhun Palace is the most powerful force in the original work. Among the 3 gods, the god of angels and the god of Rakshasa came from here. During Dai Yao's 9 years in the Star Luo Empire, the entire world was grey and extremely depressing. He had also thought about escaping from this place of right and wrong like Dai Mubai, but the queen's powerful power extinguished this idea. Dai Mubai is the queen's son. If it weren't for the queen's help, He might not be able to escape from the Star Luo Empire so easily. If he leaves the imperial city without the protection of the elders, the queen will definitely not miss this opportunity. But now, Zhu Zhuqing, whose martial soul has mutated, can no longer stay in the academy. Dai Yao must leave the Star Luo Empire. The power of the two princes, Davis and Dai Yaming. The power of the Zhu family represented by the Empress, the power of the royal family represented by Emperor Xingluo, and the elders representing the family. Many forces are mixed together, and the two princes and queens hate him even more. It is not easy for Dai Yao to leave. Now, the only force that can break the situation is Wuhun. An old man stopped the two of them, and when he saw Dai Yao's clothes, he was shocked. "Are you two members of the royal family?" the old man asked in surprise. After all, in the Star Luo Empire, the relationship between the Spirit Hall and the royal family was not very good, especially during the period when the Star Luo Empire and the Clear Sky School cooperated. The Spirit Hall could not move an inch in the imperial city, and was suppressed to death by the Clear Sky School. Therefore, the royal family and the Wuhun Palace have always been inseparable from each other, and have never communicated. It can be said that it is a big event for people suspected of being from the Xingluo royal family to come to Wuhun Hall. Exactly, Dai Yao, the fourth prince. Dai Yao replied, a little rushed. Chapter 48 Soul Master Registration. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The old man led Dai Yao and the two into a palace. The palace has a large space, with antique tables and chairs, and it seems that the furnishings are for entertaining guests. Your Highness, please sit here and wait for a moment. The old man said respectfully, and then ordered his servants to bring the tea up quickly. The old man walked through the winding corridors and came to a large and luxurious palace. This is where the bishop has his office. Toot. The old man knocked on the door. Come in. A deep voice came from the palace. After the words fell, the two guards guarding the palace opened the heavy door with force. The old man followed suit and came to the temple. He looked up and saw the fat bishop dealing with the pile of documents on the table. As the highest-ranking bishop in the Star Luo Empire's Spirit Hall, this is a required course for Bishop Ferdinand every day. What's the matter? Bishop Ferdinand raised his head and looked at the old man in confusion. Although the old man is not very capable, he has no problem handling some ordinary affairs. The bishop thought for a while, and it seemed that he had no arrangements for today, and there was no important person who needed his presence. Bishop, the four princes of the empire are here and are sitting in the reception hall waiting. The old man replied. Bishop Ferdinand lowered his head, continued to deal with official duties, and replied casually. Isn't it the fourth highness? It's not his turn to take the throne, so there's no need to make a fuss. Besides, our relationship with the empire has never been very good. Being too close to the fourth prince has been criticized. Help him solve the problem as soon as possible and don't let him stay here for too long. Yes. The old man replied respectfully. After turning around and taking a few steps, Bishop Ferdinand suddenly stopped him. Wait a moment. Do you have any other instructions? Bishop? The old man asked doubtfully. Ferdinand paused, stood up, walked to the table, frowned and asked, did the fourth prince say what he was here for? He said he was registered as a Soul Master. Soul Master registration. Bishop Ferdinand repeated in surprise as if he had heard some big joke. Since ancient times, no prince has ever registered as a Soul Master in Wuhun Palace. Most of the Soul Masters registered in Wuhun Palace are civilian Soul Masters, some down-and-out noble Soul Masters and Soul Masters from vassal principalities, although the Wuhun Palace nominally leads all Soul Masters. Both the royal family of the Tiando Empire and the royal family of the Star Luo Empire are obedient to this point. There are also three upper sects, and they don't pay attention to Wuhun Palace. The Soul Masters of these major forces will not register as Soul Masters in the Wuhun Hall at all. It's interesting. Bishop Ferdinand gradually figured out the taste and laughed. The memory of 3 years ago has been a little blurry, but Dai Yao's amazing talent is still fresh in his memory. Anyone who may have an impact on Wuhun Palace will be recorded by him. Especially a few days ago, the news came that Dai Yao defeated the great Soul Master with a first-ring Soul Master, which made him very interested in Dai Yao and went to find out more about it. Take me to meet this little guy. Ferdinand ordered. In the living room, Zhu Zhuqing sat dignifiedly and sipped the tea in the cup, but felt sullen in his heart. She and Dai Yao came out today. They thought it was a sweet date, but they didn't expect to end up at Wuhun Hall. The Soul Masters in Douluo Continent are all relatively precocious, and Ma Hongjun, who is still in his teens, has been hanging around. In such an atmosphere, although Zhu Zhuqing spent most of his time practicing hard, he also learned some things about love. Dai Yao asked her out today, and she thought that this guy who had been practicing all day had enlightened himself. She asked doubtfully, "Brother Yao, why did you come to Wuhun Hall today?" Dai Yao just smiled and said, "Register as a soul master, that the royal family does not have the tradition of registering in Wuhun Hall." It seemed that Dai Yao would not speak anymore. Zhu Zhuqing turned his head and did not want to pay attention to Dai Yao. Just then, the door opened, a figure as fat as a mountain walked in, with a fake smile on his face that the fifth elder hated. He was a little lazy, completely different from the calm and serious look when he was handling official documents just now. As he walked, he said, "Isn't the Fourth Highness going to duel with the Second Highness in a few days? Why are you free to come to my spirit hall today?" Upon hearing these words, Dai Yao knew that Bishop Ferdinand must have been paying attention to him, and he immediately relaxed in his heart. It was much easier to achieve his goal. Of course it's a soul master registration. As a soul master, shouldn't you come to the Wuhun Hall? Dai Yao replied with a smile. Bishop Ferdinand laughed. It seems that this boy wants to get closer to our Wuhun palace. He has the idea of getting closer but is not flattering. He uses the excuse of registering as a soul master to cover up. The royal family has not trained him easily. The bishop thought in his mind, in the history of 10,000 years, there have been countless princes who chose to seek refuge in Wuhun Palace because they could not stand the cruel rules of the royal family. However, these princes were either of varying quality, or they were spies of the royal family who deliberately broke into Wuhun Palace, causing considerable losses to Wuhun Palace. Of course, there are also extraordinary people who have been trained by Wuhun Hall and become titled Douluo, causing headaches to the Star Luo Empire. However, the Star Luo royal family has never changed its family rules. Compared with the occasional title Douluo, the emperor selected by the cruel family rules is the fundamental reason why the empire has maintained its rule for 10,000 years. Ferdinand was once wary of Dai Yao. After all, he was able to create his own soul skills when he first obtained the first soul ring. Such talent has never been seen in the records of Wuhun Palace. Once Dai Yao wins the competition for the throne, he will definitely pose a huge threat to Wuhun Palace, but today Dai Yao took the initiative to come to Wuhun Hall. Just in a second thought, he knew Dai Yao's purpose and thought of a way to deal with Dai Yao, that was to train a titled Douluo who would cause headaches to the Star Luo Empire. "Since you are registering as a soul master, then come with me." Bishop Ferdinand motioned to Dai Yao to follow him. The Wuhun Palace occupies a huge area, and after walking for a long distance, we finally arrived at the place where the soul master registered. Along the way, many soul masters bowed deeply to show their respect after seeing Bishop Ferdinand, but Bishop Ferdinand only nodded lightly. This shows the power of Bishop Ferdinand. The palace where the soul master registered was very tall, more than 200 meters tall, and a huge floor-to-ceiling window gave the palace enough lighting. As soon as he entered the room, Dai Yao had a special feeling. The soul power in his body seemed to be beating with a special rhythm. Glancing around, Dai Yao quickly discovered the reason that was pulling his soul power. In the center of the palace, there was a black stone the size of a fist, which was the same as the stone on which his martial spirit had awakened. On the wall, there is a huge portrait engraved, of a beautiful woman with 6 wings on her back, holding a shield in one hand and holding a sword high in the other. It is the Seraphim, the god-level martial spirit inherited from the Spirit Hall. "Your Royal Highness, are you also attracted by this portrait?" Bishop Ferdinand asked with a smile. Chapter 49 Ferdinand's Surprise. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When I first came here, I was also attracted by this angel painting. Ferdinand explained. It is said that the Wuhun Palace was founded by an angel. Therefore, the angel's sword also represents the Wuhun Palace. Dai Yao nodded. Qiandaoliu, the great enshrinement of the Wuhun Palace, is the owner of the Wuhun The Wuhun Palace has passed down the angelic martial souls from generation to generation. Perhaps because Qiandaoliu's status was too high, Bishop Ferdinand did not know about it. Then let's get started, display your martial soul and release your soul ring. Ferdinand said. Dai Yao walked to the center of the palace, stretched out his right hand, calmly concentrated, mobilized the soul power in his body, and summoned the white tiger spirit, a tiger roared with the domineering aura of a king. Dai Yao became taller and taller, and a pair of snow-white wings appeared behind him. 2 soul rings rose from Dai Yao's feet, rising and falling with his body as the center, one yellow and one purple. The purple soul ring exudes a purple light, mysterious and powerful. Bishop Ferdinand originally had a smile on his face and his eyes almost narrowed to a slit. He came in and lay down on the lounge chair, looking lazy, but when he saw the purple soul ring, he stood up from the recliner in an instant, and the look on his face became shocked. He rubbed his eyes, checked the color of the soul ring in front of him again, and then said in shock, "Is this, 1,000-year soul ring?" Dai Yao calmly replied, "Yes." Ferdinand took a long breath and calmed down his inner excitement. "You must have gone through a lot of torture. To obtain 1,000-year soul ring is a talent that has never been seen before. What a pity. You are the prince of the Star Luo Empire. Otherwise, I would have recruited you into the Spirit Hall." Showing off the 1,000-year soul ring and proving one's potential is the first step to achieve one's goal. As a normal person, under such cruel clan rules as the Dai family, he would never have any sense of belonging. Dai Yao is a time traveler and has formed a normal outlook on life. When he was reading the novel, he had no feelings about Dai Mubai's experiences. However, when he actually traveled to the Dai family, he realized how anti-human the clan rules were, but it's better to forget about joining Wuhun Palace now. Even though he was unhappy in the Star Luo Empire, after all, there were still a few people from his third uncle who were worthy of Dai Yao's concern. Joining the Wuhun Palace meant breaking with them. Not only him, but Zhu Zhuqing also needed to break with his own people. Dai Yao is not narcissistic enough to make decisions for Zhu Zhuqing, so he refused. "I'm afraid I can only refuse the bishop's kindness." But Bishop Ferdinand did not give up. "As far as I know, 4th Prince, your current situation is not good." "How to say? Do you know why the eldest prince didn't do anything to you after you entered the academy?" "Why?" Dai Yao asked doubtfully. He had also thought about this problem before. "The eldest prince only sent someone to attack him on the first day of school, but he never showed up again," Ferdinand explained patiently. "Because he is competing to be the captain of the Star Luo royal team, and his competitor is the 2nd prince. What he is worried about is that you and the 2nd prince will join forces. I didn't expect that you would actually have a conflict with the 2nd prince. It was too late for him to be happy, so he never caused trouble for you, allowing you and the 2nd prince to continue to be at odds and consuming the 2nd prince's energy. But now that the captain of the Star Luo royal team has been established, and the eldest prince is expected to be elected, he can finally have his hands free to deal with you. 4th Highness, I originally thought that you had no hope in the duel with the 2nd prince, but your 1,000-year soul ring gave me confidence in you. But so what if you beat the 2nd prince? You cannot be the opponent of the 1st prince. If you are not careful, you will be in a doomed situation." Having said this, Bishop Ferdinand looked at Dai Yao affectionately and advised emotionally. 4th Highness, come to my Wuhun Palace. In the Wuhun Palace, there are absolutely no outdated clan rules. We will provide you with the best training resources. As long as your cultivation reaches a certain level, we can even give you soul bones. As a bonus. After being silent for a long time, Dai Yao sighed. Zhu Zhuqing also looked at him nervously. "A son of the empire, Bishop, do you really think that Wuhun Palace will support my cultivation without reservation?" Dai Yao thought about his words for a long time before saying slowly. Seeing that Dai Yao still had concerns, Bishop Ferdinand explained anxiously, "Your Highness, you don't have to worry about this." Before he could finish speaking, Dai Yao waved his hand to stop him. "Since the bishop is so insistent, let me first acquiesce that Wuhun Palace will support me unreservedly, but will the geniuses of my generation be convinced? Will they allow me to take away the resources they deserve?" And as a traitor, will I really be trusted by the Pope? That the two questions stopped the bishop, and he fell silent immediately. Indeed, what Dai Yao said is absolutely correct. There are only so many resources. If you share more, others will have to share less. By then, I am afraid that the geniuses of the same generation in Wuhun Palace will be hostile to Dai Yao, and end up like the Star Luo Royal Academy. Dilemma. The second point is also what worries Ferdinand. Traitors are always looked down upon. In the history of 10,000 years, there have been many princes and even rare geniuses who defected to Wuhun Palace to work as undercover agents, causing great harm to Wuhun Palace. Moreover, these princes were all examined over and over again to make sure they could not be spies before they were absorbed into the spirit hall. But these people were eventually exposed as spies, and their previous experiences in the Star Luo Empire were just disguises. Therefore, it is impossible for Dai Yao to gain the Pope's trust. This was an unsolvable problem, and Ferdinand looked pitiful. Almost. Dai Yao thought, when he came to Wuhun Hall today, he actually made his attitude clear, which was to move closer to Wuhun Hall. Move closer, not join, but anything that comes easily will be looked down upon by others, and the same goes for talents. Only those who spend a lot of money to invite will be cherished. This was how Dai Yao was in the company in his previous life. The capable old people work hard but receive a meager salary, while the newcomers who have just been recruited know nothing, and their salary is even higher than that of some old people who have stayed in the company for many years. This is human nature. I am also interested in Wuhun Palace, but now it seems that it is not the best time to join Wuhun Palace. Dai Yao looked at the bishop and said seriously. What do you mean? The bishop asked doubtfully. After the duel with Dai Yaming, I will leave the Star Luo Empire. I may need the bishop's help then. Don't worry, as long as I'm here, I will definitely let you leave the Star Luo Empire safely. Bishop Ferdinand vowed. The bishop's straightforward attitude made Dai Yao feel worried. Aren't you worried that I just used Wuhun Palace to leave the Star Luo Empire? Dai Yao asked doubtfully. Since I want to recruit His Highness, I naturally have to trust His Highness. Even if you just want to use me, I have to let you see the sincerity of my spirit hall. Chapter 50 Dai Hengyu's Decision. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The bishop's words moved Dai Yao a little. In the Star Luo Royal Academy, he is an existence that no one wants to mention. He is in a difficult situation and is not favored in the competition for the throne. No one is willing to support him, not even some speculators, but in Wuhun Palace, which was more powerful, they showed respect to him. In this case, after the duel with Dai Yaming, we will leave the Star Luo Empire. Dai Yao said his plan. The Wuhun Hall will definitely be waiting for His Highness. Bishop Ferdinand promised. On the way back, Zhu Zhuqing looked at Dai Yao and hesitated to speak. She knew that Dai Yao had thought a lot about the future of the two of them. She could understand even if he escaped to the Tiando Empire, but she couldn't understand why he wanted to go to the Spirit Hall. If you have any questions, just ask. Dai Yao had long seen Zhu Zhuqing's hesitation and said with a smile. Why does Brother Yao want to join the Wuhun Palace? Zhu Zhuqing asked. It's not about joining, it's about getting closer. Dai Yao pointed out the problem in Zhu Zhuqing's words. Get closer. Yes, joining the Spirit Hall is a dead end, and there is no turning back. But we have no choice now. Can we leave the Star Luo Empire on our own? The Queen is watching in secret. After leaving the imperial city, although we have gained freedom, but he also fell into a dangerous place. If you want to survive safely, you must have a force to block the Queen's pressure. On the entire continent, there are only a few with such strength. Because of the hostile relationship, the Tiando Empire will definitely protect us. However, as a prince of an enemy country, he will inevitably be imprisoned by the Tiando Empire. If he ends up like this, what's the point of leaving the Star Luo Empire? The other three sects are the Haotian sect. The Seven Treasures Glazed sect and the Blue Lightning Overlord Dragon sect are both in Tiando. If you go to these two sects, you may end up with the same fate as if you go to the Tiando Empire. The freedom you get is also limited. And the Wuhun Palace, which is aloof between the two empires, is the most capable of protecting us. Moreover, most of the Wuhun Palace are civilian soul masters, so they are the most tolerant. Therefore, it is best to go to the Wuhun Palace. Choose. Zhu Zhuqing thought for a while and found that Dai Yao only explained why he chose Wuhun Palace, but did not explain the significance of getting closer. He opened his eyes in confusion, tilted his head, and asked, "Then what does getting closer mean?" Dai Yao explained as he walked, "We are leaving the Star Luo Empire, but it does not mean that we will completely break with the Star Luo Empire. Do you want to completely sever contact with your people?" Zhu Zhuqing was stunned when he heard Dai Yao's words. Thinking of the Zhu family, she would tremble from time to time, but if she really wanted to break up with them, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't say anything. Seeing Zhu Zhuqing's reaction, Dai Yao knew that his guess was correct. Zhu Zhuqing did not have the courage to completely break with the Zhu family. Isn't this the case in the original work? Zhu Zhuqing and Dai Mubai fled to the Tiando Empire. They did not choose to resist when there was no hope of winning in the competition for the throne. Moreover, after becoming titled Douluo, the two of them not only did not liquidate their clan members, but instead forgave them. Dai Mubai also gave up the throne to Davis. This shows the submissive nature of the two people. Bloodline reasons must have played a large part in their decision. Therefore, Zhu Zhuqing will never completely break with the family no matter what, but Dai Yao is different. He is not only a time traveler, he has no good feelings towards the so-called family, but he also has a bloody feud with the queen. It can be said that if someone wants to destroy the Star Luo Empire, he will definitely help, but as Zhu Zhuqing is his fiancée, he must take care of her emotions and cannot make a choice for Zhu Zhuqing unilaterally. I understand, thank you Brother Yao. Zhu Zhuqing's emotions were complicated, and she, who was as smart as ice and snow, understood Dai Yao's reason for approaching Wuhun Palace from Dai Yao's words, and she couldn't help but feel a hint of sweetness in her heart, but Dai Yao's words also reminded her whether she was ready to break with her family, really join the Wuhun Palace. Suddenly, bitterness and sweetness came to my heart at the same time, which was very complicated. After Dai Yao returned to the academy, he stayed at the place of cultivation. He still sat under the waterfall and practiced to resist the pressure brought by the waterfall. Although it is only a few days, you cannot slack off when practicing. Just then, he noticed two figures approaching him. The fiery red figure is naturally Feng Wudong, and the other one is Zhang Xiaofan, whom he hasn't seen for a long time. Feng Wudong led Zhang Xiaofan to Dai Yao, exchanged a few words, and Zhang Xiaofan explained his purpose. Your Highness, the Vice Dean invites you. Associate Dean, that there were several vice presidents, and for a moment, Dai Yao couldn't tell which one he was. It's Prince Dai Hengyu. Dai Yao felt a little gloomy in his heart and said secretly, after waiting for so long, it's finally here. Going to the Wuhun Palace in a swaggering way, of course, you can't hide it from those who are interested, and he didn't want to hide it, came to the Vice Dean's office and knocked on the door. Come in. A voice came from behind the door. Zhang Xiaofan opened the door and motioned for Dai Yao to come in. After Dai Yao entered, he closed the door gently. Dai Hengyu was very pleased to see Dai Yao, who had grown much taller and looked so heroic. I secretly thought in my heart, your mother can also smile. But the news that Dai Yao went to Wuhun Palace a few days ago made him feel uneasy. No one in the Xingluo royal family dared to have anything to do with Wuhun Palace. Dai Hengyu asked directly, Dai Yao, why did you go to Wuhun Hall a few days ago? Soul Master registration. Dai Yao replied expressionlessly. Registration as a Soul Master. Dai Hengyu frowned as if he heard a big joke. He still couldn't figure out why a prince from Xingluo wanted to go to the Spirit Hall to register as a Soul Master. Yes, Wuhun Palace will give a certain subsidy to every registered Soul Master below level 30. A great Soul Master will receive 10 gold coins every month. As a prince, the Presbyterian Council will give me 1,000 gold coins every year, but 1,000 gold coins is not enough in the Royal Academy. 10 gold coins per month means 120 gold coins per year, which is a lot of money for me, so I'll go to the Spirit Hall to register as a Spirit Master. There won't be any problem. Dai Yao explained. Dai Hengyu's words were irrefutable. For each prince, the income of the Presbyterian Church only accounts for a small part, and more comes from the mother clan. But no one expected that Dai Yao was such a weirdo, with no mother clan at all, so there is no biggest source of income, but these are just Dai Yao's excuses to go to Wuhun Hall. He practiced day and night. Apart from learning the knowledge of soul masters, he had no extra expenses at all. He had a lot left over from the Presbyterian Council's allocation every year.